Tahmasp, thank you. You took your time out today. I know you're a busy man, but you were nice enough. I think we rescheduled once only.
Yes.
Only once.
Yes.
Yeah. So, how's it going? How's the law practice? I used to work with you.
Yes,
I worked with you back in 2020, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, how's it going?
Yeah, Alhamdulillah, it's going fine.
Mm.
Took a bit of a dip after my father passed away earlier
This was
last
in
year.
2022, right?
No, 2024, last year, Feb.
I wasn't here.
You
I
weren't
was
here.
not
You
here,
were
right.
traveling.
I was
You
traveling.
were studying abroad
Yeah.
at that time. And then, so it happened last year, 3rd Feb. So his first death anniversary is coming up in a few weeks' time.
In a few weeks.
So uske baad thoda sa it was a bit slow.
Yeah.
And I think Alhamdulillah now no complaints. Things have picked up.
I met
So
him
happy.
only once when I first joined your office. And I clearly remember, like I met him obviously, but then I think हमने एक draft बनाया था and आपने कहा था जाओ रशीद साहब से check करा के आओ. And I went, Ahmed and I actually, both of us went. And हमने ना वो revision थी या review थी तो हमने उसका stay order की application गलत डाली थी. It was a wrong provision. So he said मेरा Bible लेके आओ, which meant the CPC. And he was like, तुम लोगों ने कभी कानून पढ़ा है? Sir, पढ़ा तो था. कह रहे खोलो मेरी ये Bible. Then he opened up his CPC, which was like fully marked from the first page to the end. It had like bookmarks on it. And then he fixed the provision. He's like, इस section में नहीं stay order बनता है, इसमें बनता है. कानून पढ़ा है मैंने जी sir, अब पढ़ लिया. And now I remember exactly what that was because the way it was delivered to me. So, but back then, I think we weren't taught enough about him. But now, you know, once a person passes away, you realize what an asset you had. And I saw the kind of work that he did. He was a judge, and then he refused to take oath under General Musharraf, right?
Yeah.
And this
PCO.
was-
Yeah.
this was in
Second PCO
2000,
in 2000. Yeah, January 2000.
That takes guts to do. Not many people would let that down. I mean, if you're on the bench, you'd rather stay on the bench, right?
So yeah, I asked my dad as well. He didn't had much of a legacy, you know, in this profession. He was the first one.
He was the first generation.
He was the first generation lawyer, and I asked him, you know, before you took the step, did you think, you know, how are you going to feed us? How are you going to look after the family? And you know, I was about to go abroad to study, and I didn't know. I was just about to start my LB. How things are going to work out? And he's like, no. When it comes to matters of principles, you just need to stick to them. And बाकी फिर अल्लाह देने वाला है, मेहनत करनी है और आपने that's it. So he said that there was something that was unacceptable to us. He wasn't alone. Mr. Mushaq Memon, he's a senior advocate of the Supreme Court. He was with him at that time. He also refused. So
he was also he was given the title of prisoner of conscience.
yes.
By Amnesty International.
Yes.
Okay.
This is during the lawyers movement 2007 when he was arrested.
When he was arrested.
Yeah, I think he was arrested sometime in 2008. I think in November, on November 5th.
And how long was he behind bars?
This was his third
Yeah.
tenure.
The first was 84, 85 back in Zia's time. The
Yeah.
second was around early 2000s.
Yeah.
And then the third was 2007.
Yeah. So this time he went for I think 3.5 weeks.
How did it feel like for a son? As
So
a son?
I had no recollection of the first couple
course.
of times he had been in jail. I was very young. But I spoke to my mom about it, and she's like, yeah, it was tough for us, you know. But we were part of a joint family system, and chachas, tayas, everybody was there, dadi was there. So everybody looked after us.
Principles are so important, you know, that they build you and they make you who you are, they give you your identity. And it's sad to see a lot of people, apart from this profession, even in this profession and other professions, I feel like they compromise on their principles. You know, everything has a price. Sad to say.
You know, Zubain, I don't know whether I've shared this with you or not. Like my first day when I joined the profession, right? Me and my dad were about to leave for court, and he sat me down and he said something which till date stuck with me. He said, "Ke beta, is profession mein पैसे कमाना बहुत आसान काम है, सबसे मुश्किल काम है नाम और इज्जत कमाना। पैसा खो गया वापस आ जाएगा, एक दफ़ा तुम्हारा नाम चला गया, it won't be easy for you. And he spoke to me about what are his principles and what he has stood by throughout his career. कि मैं इन चीज़ों पे मैंने कभी कॉम्प्रोमाइज़ नहीं किया, क्योंकि इससे मेरा नाम बदनाम हो सकता था।
But it comes with added pressure, doesn't it? Being the legacy that your father left behind, it was such a massive legacy, so it does come with pressure. So I think that does have an impact on you, right?
Yeah, it does have a lot of impact, and at least when I started off my career, in the first few years, I was under, I think, tremendous pressure, because मुझे यही feeling होती थी कि what would people say, कि यार अगर मैं खड़ा हो जाऊँ at the rostrum and I say something ridiculous, I make a very petty mistake, and people are like, yeah, Rasheed Razvi का बेटा, इसको ये भी नहीं पता, and we do have a tendency of comparing के कहाँ बाप, कहाँ बेटा, कहाँ ये, कहाँ वो, and that was the first few years were a bit tough for me. लेकिन worse was कि like in just a couple of years, I entered the profession in 2006, and I think 2007 में तहरीक शुरू हो गई.
Right, 2007 में शुरू.
Yeah. So जब हम by the time I got enrolled in High Court, we were on strikes.
So you started off like a COVID kind of a thing.
हाँ बिल्कुल, हाँ फिर then वो एक पीरियड आ गया जहाँ PCO जजेस आ गए, we refused कि हम PCO जजेस के सामने अपेयर नहीं होंगे, हम सिर्फ नॉर्मल जजों के सामने, कोई नॉर्मल था नहीं, और फिर that went on, and it I think finished in 2009, early 2009 में.
So you started off with politics, bar politics, then not only bar politics, domestic politics. You started off with that, and then bar politics, obviously. Rasheed Saab was big on bar politics.
Yes.
KBA president, Sindh High Court Bar Association, and then Supreme Court Bar Association, Pakistan Bar Council. He did everything. So, but I think you've taken it well. From what I've worked with you, you've never let it get to you, all of that pressure. I've argued because
now it's as they say, water on the bridge. बहुत ज़्यादा time गुजर गया है. Now it's fine यार. अब तो इतना pressure महसूस भी नहीं होता. लेकिन अब सिर्फ प्रेशर काम का है, क्लाइंट का है कि you need to go and get the results.
Which is a good kind of pressure.
That's a good pressure to have. But वो initial pressure होता है, हर किसी के ऊपर होता है. And I guess it applicable in every profession. चाहे आप आप showbiz में हो, आप किसी बड़े आर्किटेक्ट के बेटे हो, पॉलिटिशियन के बेटे हो, so they all feel कि यार फलाना का बेटा है, देखो उसमें आपको हमेशा वो एक initial pressure होता है कि people will judge me, they will compare me with my father.
But you've seen highs and lows. I remember you spoke to me, you gave me this pep talk once. Okay, you've seen the highs and the lows that and I think you're not scared to talk about this. I think you've told me कि भाई मैंने तो बस में सफ़र किया और मैं बसों में सफ़र करके अब मैं गाड़ियों पे आया हूँ. So I think when you've gone through all of that, तो आप चीज़ों को वैल्यू ज़्यादा करते हो,
अप्रिशिएट भी करते हो. 5 नंबर नाज़िमाबाद की पैदाइश, that's where my father, my चाचा, my दादा दादी used to live. My father migrated from Bombay, my dada and dadi. My dada was in the show business, he was a director, came, settled finally in Karachi, and my father was the first one and the only one who came in this profession. My 2 tayas were in the show business, my popo is in the show business, her daughter is in the show business, one of my chachas was in the show business as well. So
he was a film producer.
Yeah, my 2 tayas, Said Rizvi and Masood Rizvi, they were in film and advertising, and so and so forth. My father was the only one who wanted to be a lawyer, and so it was a struggle for him as well. When he was seeing all his brothers excelling at that time, his older brothers, they were doing well. They got into their father's profession, and they had I wouldn't say an easier way, but when there is a lot of knowledge available at home, You know, they can just go and I know how it feels. You know, when I used to get stuck, I would just knock onto his door. It's like, yeah, listen, tell me, how does this work?
You have a walking, talking SCMR in your house.
Yeah, a Wikipedia.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's
So
such a convenience.
it was, yes, definitely. And I think my Tayas had that little advantage. But when my grandfather migrated here and came, the show business, the film industry wasn't doing that well. And it crashed in Karachi completely and shifted into Lahore. So,
Especially the early 80s, that time.
yeah, so kuch zyada bacha nahi. So from Nazmabad, we moved actually here in Seaview.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, in 93.
In 93.
Yeah.
I'm not going to ask the block now. But Seaview, really?
Yeah, so we lived here till 2000, and from here then we moved into phase 6 defense. So here it was easier. Samne bus Shabazz chalti thi, Mehfooz coach, just jump into it, go all the way up to Kadda Market. That's where my tuitions were, and do the tuitions and फिर वापस से नीचे पकड़ के
बस में आ
लगी. It was very 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 easy. उस ज़माने में यार I think now as a parent I think you know मैं ज़रा paranoid हूँ. My parents I think लगता था कि they don't love us now. You know क्या हाँ बेटा जा रहा है जाने दो उसको फलाना करना कोई
But times have changed too.
Times have changed
Yeah.
as well. अब traffic ज़्यादा है ज़्यादा वो है और you know mobile phone है. हर 2 सेकंड बाद somebody can call you and find out where you are, message you if they don't want to call you.
But देखें ना ये आपका बड़ा बनेगा आप you accept your origin, you accept how you began everything, because a lot of people don't, you know, they're very उनको बड़ा शर्म आती है ये चीज़ें accept करने में कि हमारी beginnings कहाँ से थी, which is sad, you know.
यार ये चीज़ें भूलनी भी नहीं चाहिए. It keeps you close to the ground, I believe, and इसमें कोई शर्म की बात नहीं है. I think my father really excelled and made a lot of money only after when he came from the bench. Prior to his elevation, he wasn't as well off, you know, or as on a judge's salary. It was very tough for us. You know,
He was a banking judge to begin
he was
with,
2
right?
years special judge for banking.
93 to 95.
93 to 95. 95 he was elevated as a high court judge, and
Until
2000
right.
January he left, and then from there he started off. And when he came back, क्योंकि हम ये जो सीव्यू का अपार्टमेंट था, it was on rent.
Oh, it was on rent.
It was on rent. हम चले गए थे, हमने खरीद लिया था, but because we had moved into official residence, जो judges को हमें ऑफर हो रही थी, तो हम वहाँ शिफ्ट हो गए थे. We had put this on rent to make additional income. So जब he refused to take oath, we didn't even had a place to go, and we didn't had an office and no home, nothing. And that's when Mr. Munir Malik stepped in to our lives again, and he gave us the keys to his office, keys to his home. कहते जाओ जाके इधर रहो जब तक तुम अपने पाँव पे खड़े नहीं होते.
Really?
और सब, हाँ.
I don't know this.
So my father went straight into Munir Malik Saab's office and started his practice there.
That is where he started from.
That's again in 2000. And Munir Malik Saab also gave him his home. He wasn't living there. There was no tenant. It was initially under tenancy, but he gave him कि तुम जाओ जाके यहाँ रहो, अपनी repairs करो, and don't worry about the rent. Just stay there for a while जब तक you know you get your things sorted out. And we ended up living there for a couple of years. After that, then he got his own house on Shujat, and then he shifted there.
Which he still has.
Which he still has.
Yeah.
And then I think after 2 years he also bought our office where you there.
Yeah.
So we moved there in I think 2002.
And he was also the president of the Pakistan Institute of Labor Education Research, right?
Yeah.
Which you are now.
Now
the president.
pilot, yes.
Pilot, right?
Pilot.
And you're quite active in it. I've seen a lot of activity on social media.
I try to,
Yeah.
Zoran, but once again, I think it's a big regret I have, because this is something I wasn't, too interested in, too keen in pursuing when my father was alive.
Okay.
So this is a project started by Mr. Karamat Ali. Karamat Saab was my father's very, very good and very old friend. And being, leftist, politician, pro-labor, they always wanted to do something together. So ये शुरू से करते थे, Pilar existed, लेकिन after 2000 इन्होंने इसका कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन बनाया, इसको अपने पाँव पे खड़ा किया, एक premises ली, building बनाई, सब कुछ किया, and they had a trust level amongst themselves. एक दोस्ती थी, I think over 60 years of friendship.
60 years?
Over 60 years. And हुआ ये कि when my father passed away on the 3rd of Feb last year, after a few weeks, Karama Saab approached me and said, कि, it's time for you to start taking things over. I said, ठीक है. उस वक्त emotional भी था. I was like, ठीक है, I'll do whatever my father had committed to the organization, और मैं करूँगा जितना भी मैं कर सकता हूँ ये वो. And I told him, I will only do this on one condition, you will hold my hand and you will teach me, how to jump the ropes, because I don't know much about it. He's like, don't worry, I'm with you. I just need somebody I can rely on and, who's honest to the cause. I was like, ठीक है. जो अल्लाह को मंजूर था, I think 2.5 months later, Karama Saab passed away as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And then Karama Saab's nephew, Abbas Haider, and along with the rest of the trustees and directors, we are now looking after the project. So we are trying our best. I'm very young. I'm the junior most there.
We spoke about pressure.
Yeah.
Talk about pressure.
So we just trying to, make sure the institution survives. And, a lot of people have eyes on it, building बेच दो, फलाना कर दो, पैसे नहीं है, यूं करो.
The same old.
I was like, we will not. There was a purpose behind it. There's a cause. We will fight for that cause, no matter what. And labor है, labor के लिए लड़ना हमारे लिए ज़रूरी है.
Your father stood on that for as long as I can remember. He was very pro-labor.
And if you remember, we have so many labor cases in our office, all free of cost.
And all of them, I remember you were looking after them.
Yes.
You would personally be involved in all of them.
Yes. So Allah ka shukar hai. I think this is something I want to carry on, and fight for as long as we can.
And then when did you go for you went for your master's, right?
Yes, that was 2004.
2004.
2003, 2004, yes.
And then you came back a year later.
Came back a year later.
So you never stayed there, because बहुत सारे लोग जो जाते हैं पढ़ने, and then especially coming from legal backgrounds, काफ़ी साल रहते हैं वहीं पे, practice करते हैं to the UK, and then they come back. So I think आपने सिर्फ masters किया and then you came back.
Yeah. Now I think you're rubbing salt in the wounds.
You're like, oh man, how would have things been different had I stayed there, right?
Had I stayed there.
And
yes.
even you're accredited mediator.
Yes, with Cedra here.
You did it before it was cool, right? Because अब mediation or arbitration इतना promote हो रहा है. Mansoor Ali Shah Saab is a big advocate of ADR doing arbitration. So you did it before it was cool.
Yeah, I think the person who should be given credit for this is Miss Naveen Merchant. She started all of this ADR in Karachi, at least. I don't know about Punjab or any other area. She started the institution. She brought Cedar in. I was part of the second batch who did the course here. And I think uske baad KCDR bana, Karachi Center for Dispute Resolution here. We did a few mediations as well. But at a very initial stage, I think the bar didn't take it too lightly. Bar was of the opinion कि यार ये हमारी litigation खा जाएंगे, हमारी नौकरियां हैं, हमारी रोजी रोटी है, ख़त्म हो जाएगा. And they went on strikes and mediation नहीं होने देते थे. Or we really struggled during that I think first few years. But I think eventually it now is part of law. Amendments are made, and I think a lot of people have done mediation. I think last year alone, I think a lot or the year before, I think 125, 135 people did mediation courses
and became accredited mediators.
Yes, just through High Court Bar Association. So times change.
The irony.
The bar itself is now promoting mediation and doing it. So.
And I keep bringing this up. You see, the bar has such an important role to play in people, in the lives of lawyers, be it young or old lawyers. And I don't know if you watched the previous podcasts. I was quite vocal about कि bar का role बड़ा important है. But अब जो है, I think bar का role जो है ना वो बहुत now it's changed completely. Now it's more of this pursuit for power, बिफोर हैंड आई थिंक यू वुड नो बेटर देन मी कि पहले बार एक ऐसी जगह थी जहाँ पे आप सीखते थे, बड़े बड़े सीनियर लॉयर्स से आप सीखते थे चीज़ें. नाउ आई थिंक इट्स जस्ट अ पोर्टफोलियो टू हैव, इट्स समथिंग टू हैव ऑन योर पोर्टफोलियो. सो who's gonna fix everything with the bar? I think everything's wrong with the bar right now. Personal opinion.
आई कम्प्लीटली एग्री विद यू, बट ये हम में खुद शऊर आना चाहिए. वी नीड टू रियलाइज कि जो डायरेक्शन बार का अब है, क्या वो सही है या गलत है. तो कोई भी बार हो सकती है, चाहे वो सुप्रीम कोर्ट बार हो, हाई कोर्ट बार हो, या डिस्ट्रिक्ट बार आपकी हो. एक ज़माना था जब बार असूलों पे लड़ती थी. बार का ये काम नहीं था जो आज ये काम कर रही है, खामोश बैठी रहती है. और मुल्क में इतना कुछ हो रहा है, आपके पास पिछले साल इलेक्शंस हो गए, चीफ जस्टिस साहब चेंज हो गए आपके, लेकिन आपकी बार ने किसी मौजू पे कुछ भी नहीं बोला.
कुछ भी नहीं था,
खामोशी थी. एक वकील को उसके चेंबर से उठा लिया जाता है, एजेंसीज उठा के लेकर चली जाती हैं, लेकिन आपकी बार खामोश रहती है. उस इंसिडेंट में तो उन्होंने कंडेम भी नहीं किया उसको, और ये एक्सक्यूज दे दी कि वो पॉलिटिकल था और वो सब कुछ था. एंड आई कन्फ्रंटेड सम ऑफ देम एंड आई टोल्ड देम कि यार आज उसको उठाया है, कल को हमें अपने चेम्बरों से उठा लेंगे. आपको उठा सकते हैं. सो आई थिंक आपकी पर्सनल जो एम्बिशंस हैं, दे हैव टेकन प्रेसिडेंस ओवर द बार principles.
But you see, because of personal ambitions, people like me are suffering. Young lawyers are suffering. Because, and again, I think ये बहुत ज़्यादा repetitive हो जाएगा, but आपने जब वुकला को लाइब्रेरीज से निकाल के इलेक्शन कैंपेन में खड़ा कर दिया, and the bar is advocating for it, bar encourage कर रहा है उसको, then where do you stand? Where do you stand as a bar? Where do young lawyers stand? You've opened this Pandora box. कल को अगर बार में, for example, किसी की Halloween party हुई, for example, who's going to stop it? So you're setting that precedent and you're making things worse. I remember you were contesting last year, and the things you saw, you told me, the things you saw that happened, they aren't supposed to happen, but who's going to talk about this? No, I don't see anyone talking about it, not any of the senior lawyers as well.
Yeah, unfortunate है. देखिए, I do encourage young practicing advocates to come into bar politics.
You do?
I encourage them a lot because I think कि जब तक पढ़े लिखे लोग बार में नहीं आएंगे तो आपकी बार सही डायरेक्शन में नहीं चल सकती. जब पढ़े लिखे अच्छी प्रैक्टिसिंग फर्म से लोग आते हैं बार में, तो वो अपनी पर्सनल एम्बिशंस को साइड पे रखते हैं. वो देखते हैं कि हम बार के लिए क्या कर सकते हैं, हम बार के मेम्बरान के लिए क्या कर सकते हैं. एंड आई थिंक बहुत ज़रूरी है कि जो प्रैक्टिसिंग वकला होते हैं, दे ऑल्सो अंडरस्टैंड कि भाई ज़ुरैन की और तहमास की क्या नीड है, बार के मेम्बरान की क्या तकलीफ़ है. वो डिफ़िकल्टीज़ अगर आप नहीं समझेंगे और अगर आप सिर्फ अपने एक पर्सनल एम्बिशन के लिए कि भाई मेरा एक ओहदा आ जाएगा, मेरे नाम क्या है, तो फिर बार विल लूज़ दैट स्टेटस दैट यूज्ड टू हैव. एक वक्त था जब ये बार, और मैं बार बार ये बात कहता हूँ कि ये वक्त था कि जब ये बार खड़ी हुई एक मिलिट्री डिक्टेटर के खिलाफ. आज ये बार एक एसएचओ को नहीं बुला सकती अपने पास.
वाकई you're right.
क्योंकि आपने खुद ये डिक्लाइन में पार्टिसिपेट किया बार की. आपने बार को और बार के मेम्बरान को एक ऐसी तरफ ले गए हैं जहां वो भूल गए हैं कि भाई बार को भी इंडिपेंडेंट होना ज़रूरी है. अब पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज बार में आके इलेक्शन लड़ रही हैं,
उनके लोग
आते हैं, उनकी बैकिंग होती है. आप जाते हैं, मैं जाता हूँ, उनसे वोट मांगते हैं, उनको बोलते हैं आप हमें सपोर्ट करें. पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज का, जिस तरह पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज ने आपकी स्टूडेंट यूनियंस को तबाह किया, उसी तरह अब ये साइकिल रिपीट हो रही है और अब ये बार को तबाह कर रहे हैं.
But do you think student unions, मतलब I've always been against student unions, unpopular opinion, because मुझे लगता है कि एक ऐसी जगह जहाँ पे सिर्फ तालीम होनी चाहिए, वहाँ पे जब आप थोड़ी पॉलिटिक्स लाते हो तो उसका फिर जो नज़रिया है वो बर्बाद होता है. डोंट यू थिंक सो?
आई स्ट्रांगली डिसएग्री. देखो बांग्लादेश में क्या हुआ, जो
the students made everything
it was
happen.
the students,
yeah,
it was the youth. उनमें इतना शऊर था, उनमें वो अंडरस्टैंडिंग थी टू डिफरेंशिएट बिटवीन राइट एंड रॉन्ग कि वो सब खड़े हुए अपने हकूक़ के लिए. उन्होंने मिलिट्री और पॉलिटिशियंस को मुंह दिया जाके लड़े, और देखो कैसे टॉपल किया एक बहुत स्टैब्लिश्ड पॉलिटिकल पार्टी को।
मेरे पूरे सोशल मीडिया पे जाके हम क्यों नहीं कर सकते ये?
हम इसलिए नहीं कर सकते क्योंकि देखो ये जो आपके ये पॉलिटिशियंस हैं उसकी जो ब्रीडिंग ग्राउंड होती है ये स्टूडेंट यूनियंस ही होती
स्टूडेंट
है।
यूनियन
आपको और मुझे सियासी शऊर आया जब हम बार में एंटर हुए। मेरे वालिद साहब, ही वॉज अ स्टूडेंट लीडर, ही वॉज पार्ट ऑफ द NSF, ही वॉज द प्रेजिडेंट ऑफ his student union in college, in university, and he participated in debates, participated in political conversations. उनको उस एज में वो शऊर हासिल था जो आज भी हमें नहीं
उस
है,
एज में नहीं है। करेक्ट करेक्ट।
क्योंकि वो दे वर वेरी वेल अवेयर ऑफ their सराउंडिंग्स। उनको पता था मुल्क में क्या हो रहा है। आज हमारा एक तबका है जो एक बबल में रह रहा है, यहाँ
जो
defense
अखबार
में,
तक नहीं पढ़ता।
जो अखबार तक नहीं पढ़ता। उसका काम है बस यहाँ से लेके उस मार्केट तक जाना और वापस आना, शॉपिंग मॉल पे जाना और अपनी गाड़ी का देखना, अपना फलाना करना। उनको नहीं पता इस्लामाबाद में क्या हो रहा है, लाहौर में क्या हो रहा है, कि कराची में पुल के उस पार क्या हो रहा है।
So to say, पुल के उस पार। करेक्ट।
सो यू डोंट नो, यू वी आर लिविंग इन अ बबल। वो शऊर आपके पास जब आएगा जब आप यहाँ से उठ के आप बल्दिया जाएंगे,
यस,
जब आपको पता चलेगा वहाँ भी वकील रहता है और उसकी क्या ज़रूरियात हैं, वो क्या
उसका क्या
डिफिकल्टीज
नज़रिया
है,
है,
उसका क्या नज़रिया है। जब वो बार रूम आता है तो उस हाउ डू यू मेक हिम फील? यू मेक हिम फील वेलकम, या वो देखता है कहता है यार ये तो होगा
ये
बार रूम
करोड़पति क्लब है,
ये करोड़पति क्लब, ये अरबपति
हाँ।
क्लब है, ये फलाना है, ये शहजादे हैं, ये फलाना है, ये वो है। तो ही डजंट फिट इन, एंड व्हाट आर वी डूइंग अबाउट देम? अब वो भी पढ़े लिखे लोग हैं, वो भी प्रैक्टिसिंग वकील हैं, बट दे स्ट्रगल टू कम अप as a bar politician, yeah, somebody who is well versed with these things. I think we all should promote these people as well. उनको भी हम encourage करेंगे, तुम आओ, you must have a say in everything.
उनसे तो हम सिर्फ जब वोट का टाइम आता है तो we are soliciting for votes and that's it. जैसे ही वोट हुआ गायब and that's it, you know. And I think you saw a lot of the, and आप experience से ही कह रहे हैं because जब आप अपनी campaign कर रहे थे आप सबसे मिले होंगे, तो आपको पता है जो डिफेंस का वकील है उसकी रिक्वायरमेंट विल बी वेरी डिफरेंट फ्रॉम समवन हु इज फ्रॉम अ वेरी डिफरेंट एरिया। नॉट डिस्क्रिमिनेटिंग अगेंस्ट एनीवन, लेकिन हर किसी की अलग एक नज़रिया होता है, अलग एक ज़रूरत होती है। तो ये तो ग्रुप्स हैं हमारे बाहर में, बट बाहर के अलावा भी देखिए द होल सिस्टम, व्हेन इट कम्स टू द सिस्टम, आई थिंक it's clogged because of this, and I love to talk about this because of the whole practice around interim orders. This has clogged the system, and ever since I've started working 2019, I've been interning before that, but ever since 2019 I've stepped in court, I've only seen adjournments क्योंकि brief hold हो रही है and then interim order चल रहा है, and so I think how does that end? There is no end to that. The bar is supposed to play its role, right? Even in this, I'm sure the bar is supposed to play its role in this as well.
देखिए, once again I agree with you. Bar should have played a role, but instead they decided to take a different side to it. उनको लगा कि क्योंकि प्रेशर बहुत है हाई कोर्ट के ऊपर, तो हमें ओरिजिनल साइड जो है नीचे वापस डिस्ट्रिक्ट कोर्ट में कर देनी चाहिए, यूनिफॉर्मिटी होनी चाहिए पूरे मुल्क में, instead of actually speaking to the judges and ensuring कि हमारे पास काम हो, आउटपुट हो। अभी आपके पास देखें किस किस्म का काम हो रहा है। इंटरिम ऑर्डर्स हैं, आप इंटरिम ऑर्डर ले लें उसके बाद भाग जाएं,
सालों साल भागे,
एंड कोई आपको पकड़ने वाला नहीं है। एप्लीकेशंस लगती नहीं है, अर्जेंसीज डिसमिस हो जाती हैं,
केस नंबर ही नहीं आता।
बट उसकी वजह एक ये भी है कि देखें अभी इस वक्त 12-13 वैकेंसीज हैं, जजेस कम हैं आपके पास।
ऑन द फ्लिप साइड
उनकी भी डिफिकल्टीज हैं, और
वो तो है, बिल्कुल है, वो भी इंसान है, हाउ मच कैन दे।
आई एग्री। और देखें 26 अमेंडमेंट के बाद अब आपके पास कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल बेंचेस आ गई हैं, तो वो आप चीफ के हाथ में नहीं रहा। अब जो जुडिशल कमीशन आपको अपॉइंट करके देगी जजेस, वही जजेस सिर्फ कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल साइड के केसेस सुन सकते हैं। अब वो भी लिमिटेड हैं, 10 हैं आपके पास, तो वो अब आपको लाड़काना में भी देखना है, आपको सखर में भी देखना है, आपको हैदराबाद, मीरपुर खास एंड कराची, तो वो आपको 10 जजेस बाइफ्रिकेट करने, किस तरह आप बेंचेस बनाएंगे, तो वो एक और डिफिकल्टी आ गई आपके.
So you think the solution, well, not only you think the solution, even I think, as a reasonable person, I think the solution is to get more judges. You know, fill those vacancies.
Get more judges, get competent judges,
Get
hardworking
competent.
judges, and I think the bar also needs to, stand up and speak कि भाई ये किस किस्म की practice हो रही है. The judges also need to ensure कि यार ये adjournments ना हो हर रोज. आप order pass करें instead of misbehaving with the lawyers, young lawyers. आप उनको बोले आप केस चलाओ, give them an opportunity. आप बोले ठीक है जुरैन साहब आप आए हैं, जैसा तैसा केस है आप चलाएं, आप मुझे असिस्ट करें, आई वांट टू पास एन ऑर्डर. अब जाओ, इफ यू नॉट हैप्पी विद इट यू अपील,
and you always have that right.
यू हैव दैट राइट अंडर लॉ, व्हाई नॉट. तो आप केस चलाएं, आप डिस्पोज ऑफ करें और आप आगे.
But देखना what of right भी abuse होता है अगर if some judicial officer actually, and I've seen this happen, a lot of judicial officers do take that step, कहते हैं हम ऑर्डर करेंगे और वो ऑर्डर होता है तो वो फिर अगर actually that order is correct but on appeal it gets overturned, और फिर interim order अगर vacate हुआ होता है तो it's recalled. So even that I think.
But that remedy is in court, right? I mean, is available to you under law.
Yeah.
अगर आपको लगता है कि
But
सिंगल
still
जज ने
abuse.
आपके साथ नाइंसाफी की है तो आप डीवी के सामने चले जाएं, तो ऑब्वियसली अगर आपको फेवरेबल मिलेगा जजमेंट तो अदर साइड विल बी अग्रीव्ड. वो बोलेगी नहीं, नाउ आई विल गो टू सुप्रीम कोर्ट क्योंकि मेरे लिए तो फेवर में था सिंगल जज का ऑर्डर. एंड दिस गोज ऑन until the end of Supreme Court litigation. But this happens in every country. This is nothing new to Pakistan. It happens in India, it happens Bangladesh, America. You have the right of appeals.
Okay, tell me something. Mentorship, I keep talking about mentorship, that it's very important to have a mentor, and even before having a mentor it's very important to look up to someone. अगर आप किसी एक्टर से पूछेंगे तुम एक्टर क्यों बने हो, मेरे अब्बा से पूछ लें तुम एक्टर क्यों बने हो, वो बताएंगे मुझे ये एक्टर पसंद था तो आई लुक्ड अप टू हिम एंड आई बिकेम एन एक्टर. You probably had your father to look up to and you became a lawyer. In today's date, tell me, mashallah, you have kids. If they go on to become lawyers, is there one lawyer you can say अपने बच्चे को कि आपको ये बनना है बड़े होके, apart from your father, in the current scenario?
Well, my father-in-law both are in this profession, so they have both Nana and Dada to look up to.
Good save. I was trying to trap you, Yeah, they are.
So they're lucky in that way that they have two people to look up to.
But for someone like me, there's no one to look up to.
Yeah, there is one name I really admire and I really look up to him. That's Makhdoom Ali Khan sahab. Big man, a big name in this profession, or thorough gentleman. And उनको कोर्ट में देखने का एक अलग मज़ा है. He always comes prepared, माशाल्लाह. But he's not the only one. मैं candidly मुश्ताक मेमन साहब, at his peak, alhamdulillah, I've seen him. He was amazing. He was one of those very few lawyers who would not take any adjournments.
There's a difference between being a good lawyer and a good human being. And both of those qualities do not really go together a lot of times. I've seen it not go together a lot of times, but there are obviously outliers. But why is that so? I think, why does that happen? Just because once you become a big lawyer, I think you let it get to your head and you become so agitated by everything.
Yeah, no one's perfect. Find me a perfect architect. He's a good soul and the best in his craft.
Hey, there's people, I won't take names, but there's people out there.
But they're not many, right?
Mm-hmm.
I know some top surgeons in this country. They have a bit of an arrogance about themselves. Similarly, lawyers are there. There are other professions as well, politicians, good politicians, honest politicians. But they have, a bit of a stick.
Yeah.
ठीक है यार, no one's perfect. I don't expect कि अगर कोई बहुत बड़ा नाम बन जाए तो उसको इंसान भी बहुत अच्छा मैं एक्सपेक्ट करूँ. Yes, everybody should be humble, everybody should be welcoming, and especially I think ऐसा होना चाहिए. अगर आपको अल्लाह ने बहुत नवाज दिया है तो आप जूनियर्स को डेफिनेटली, काउंसल्स को आप ट्रेन करें, कोच करें, मेंटोर करें. अगर आप कर सकते हैं तो आई थिंक ये तो हर सीनियर का फ़र्ज़ बनता है. We can talk about footballers, great footballers.
Yeah.
Not great.
You're a Manchester United fan, aren't you?
Yeah.
Did you watch Liverpool United? I'm a Liverpool fan.
Yeah.
मुझे लग रहा था कोई 10-0 होगा Liverpool.
Yeah. We gave you a tough time.
It was the last opportunity that Harry Maguire got,
Yeah.
and he skied it. मैंने कहा ये अगर गोल होता ना तो तहमास्प भी सबसे पहले मुझे मैसेज कर देगा in your face.
The problem is no one's willing to buy him.
No,
Otherwise we would have
I
sold him
agree
long
though.
time ago.
Well, he's come back stronger. उसका भी contract भी renew हुआ है, and Rashford's out of the team now.
Unfortunate.
I think it's fortunate for a lot of Manchester United fans. A lot of people have said कि हाँ ये तो खेलता ही नहीं था left.
Financially यार हमें शायद फायदा हो, but I think he is going to be a big loss. He was not fitting in the system with Ten Hag, and he had a fallout. And I think the new guy is in, and I think he's just off United now. He wants to take
He's going to move.
a new
He's gonna
challenge.
move.
Yeah, he's definitely going to move.
Salah's going to move. Salah hasn't gotten a new contract from Liverpool, so he's.
Yeah, there
gonna
comes a point in life where certain players become unaffordable.
move.
And
Harry Maguire isn't one of them, I
yeah,
promise.
and I knew I was about to say
He's not one of them.
Liverpool doesn't have that kind of a cash to hold on to Salah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think he deserves it, though. He deserves big money.
He
If you
deserves
can
it.
sell Pogba for 100 million, you can definitely pay Salah, right?
Imagine.
I mean, that's
Yeah, exactly.
that was the standard.
Exactly. And so all the Spanish clubs and other clubs are eyeing him.
Saudi league जाएगा, ये पैसा बनाएगा वहाँ जाके.
Eventually तो वहीं जाएगा क्योंकि he's a very dedicated Muslim.
Yeah.
So eventually he will go there. But I think he will do a couple of years in Europe somewhere before he goes.
I think he has one more season in him.
Definitely.
At the level that he's playing.
But if he goes to Barca or Real at this prime, I still think he's at his prime.
I think he's at his prime.
And the
Look at
coaching
numbers.
level they have, the way they're going to utilize him and pay him much higher salary, he can give you more than a year.
In the end, Tahmasp, what do you think? How should young lawyers approach this profession? There's अब तो इतने वकील आ रहे हैं, graduate हो रहे हैं. पहले तो नहीं होते थे इतने. अभी तो जब से UOL का 3-year program है, मेरे ख्याल से हजारों graduates आ रहे हैं हर साल. 500 तो आते होंगे हर साल. This is becoming a very saturated profession now. It wasn't like this maybe 6 years ago. How should they approach this now? You have so much experience behind you. What advice would you give?
Yeah, first thing I think you have to really raise this up with Sindh Bar Council. We need to act similar manner as ICAP. We need to tune down the enrollments. हम लोग 20-25 हज़ार हर साल enroll करते हैं. ये आपका और मेरा भी competition है. ये उनका खुद का भी competition है. And जब आपके पास इतने सारे वकील हर साल आते हैं, and there are only so many cases to go around.
True.
Right? Then you end up doing wrong things. My advice to young lawyers would be don't lose hope, keep working hard, keep fighting. Ye profession, it doesn't pay off early on. It's like a test match. It requires patience, your temperament, and hard work. Keep giving it all these 3 ingredients in your profession. Keep working hard, keep learning. Mentor मिलता है, senior मिलता है या नहीं मिलता है. मेहनत करो, खुद मेहनत करो, मेहनत करते रहो, and there will come a point that it will pay off. Don't get involved in hanky-panky business here, which is very easy.
Very easy.
क्योंकि obviously you are struggling, you want to pay your rent, you want to pay your electricity bills, you have school bills to pay as well. It's tough. It's easier said than done. But if you really want to make something out of yourself in this profession as a lawyer, then just hard work. It's easy money. You go down the wrong way and you will make a bit of money, yes. But then आपका career बहुत short lived होगा.
You heard it here. You heard it from the man himself. So thank you, Tahmasp. You took your time.
Thank you very much for having me.
No, thank you for coming in, and maybe next time again.
Inshallah.
Thank you.
Thank you very.
Thank you.
Thank you.